Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is a very nice one. Can you please explain if there are two buddhis, one in the head, one in the heart, or it's only one which is in the heart? You know, the buddhi doesn't have location. We are giving it a location. Manaha also doesn't have location. Buddhi is not the brain. That's why we put the hand here when we say buddhi. Because otherwise we think buddhi is equal to brain. Somehow that's how the association is, in the mind. That also I cannot say, because in the mind means where is the mind, the question will come. So buddhi is, there is a certain kind of a homeostasis, meaning an ideal situation for a human being where everything is in balance. And Ayurveda describes that as the mind sinking into the heart, mind, buddhi, whatever. And so that's very interesting. And the same thing they say also in ancient Chinese medicine, that the mind sinks into the heart, meaning there is an integration of the head, what we call the head space, and what we call the heart space. So that integration is what we are looking for. So buddhi, you can point anywhere, buddhi, buddhi, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Buddhi doesn't have a location. Heart means the place where there are certain sensations. There are certain sensations of like fear is felt here. Fear is felt here, a sense of expansion is felt here, love is felt here, and the sense of I is felt here. So then that is how the figurative heart also is the place of where the buddhi is there. Nihitam guhayam. You can also say here, it doesn't matter. So this is the so that is the thing. So it's not that there are two buddhis, it is only one, and that is what it is. Can you please describe in detail the mechanism of Jagat recognition and Brahman recognition in the buddhi? What's the difference? And what is the role of Akhandakara vritti? The mechanism of Jagat recognition, same buddhi, one buddhi alone. Same buddhi doubles, has two functions. It's just like a person having two jobs, day shift, night shift, like that, same person. So here also, same exact buddhi recognizes everything and then recognizes the truth, recognizes the Jagat and recognizes the basis, the truth of the Jagat. In the same place it has to happen. Why? Because it is the faculty of knowing. Where else will you know? You can't know it anywhere else except through the faculty of knowing. Whereas in the cognition of things other than oneself, there is a two-part operation. Technical words will come. There is a two-part operation. So if I want to look at the flower, so first flower is, and that the presence of so somebody says flower, or I look at the flower, and then before I look at the flower, I already have a flower in the head. There is a flower in the head, and that flower is having a form, a shape. And those of us who have seen this flower day in and day out, we expect only this flower. But maybe I have a trick up my sleeve and tomorrow there is a yellow flower. Oh, suddenly, oh, okay. So what happens? There is an adjustment. First, there is a flower thought, and that is called vritti vyapti. So the whole buddhi becomes flavarakara buddhi or flavarakara vritti. Akara means in the shape of. So the whole entire faculty of knowing appears as the flower. And then what? That is the first operation. And the second operation is that where that flower which is imagined, which is understood, the world is always seen subjectively at first. Then we have a kind of a objective, many times and many times not, an objective adjustment. That is what is called phalavyapti. So then when I see that, oh, it's not the pink flower, it is something else, then there is when I actually look at the object, when I look at the object with a view to really seeing what it is, then what happens? Then the mind goes out and wraps itself around the flower, and then brings back that information. When it brings back that information, whatever was in the head, whether it was a flower thought or any other thought, that gets displaced, and then this is flower, that cognition takes place. Idam pushpam, this is flower. So the first operation where the mind wraps around the flower, the mind means through the sense organs, of course, eyes, etc., wraps, or even some tune which is there. The ears wrap around that music, that is called, what is that called? Vritti vyapti. And then it pervades that item or the object, and then it brings back the information, and there is a little adjustment that is called phalavyapti. This is with regard to objects, knowledge of objects. With regard to the knowledge of subject, where the knowledge of the I, the subject, is concerned, only one operation is needed. Two operations or two mechanisms are not needed. What is needed? Vritti vyapti. Phalavyapti is not needed. Why? And this we have to understand carefully. Because the I is self-evident, whereas the flower is not self-evident. So with objects that are not self-evident, first the mind has to, or the eyes have to, the consciousness goes through the eyes and becomes the very akara of the flower and wraps this itself around the flower, creating a flower akara of thought, flower thought. And that flower thought is brought back, and then this is flower, that knowledge takes place. So similarly, when in the process of studying, it's not that the eyes go out, because what will the eyes do? They are not able to do anything. So it's not that the eyes go out, it's not that the mind goes out, nothing. So the buddhi receives. The buddhi receives, you are Brahman, this vritti, the buddhi receives. And then what kind of a vritti is it? Brahmakara vritti, or a vritti of wholeness, akhandakara vritti. How does the buddhi receive this vritti? From the acharya who is explaining the shastra. Then once that vritti is received, what is that vritti pointing to? It's pointing to me. It's not pointing to some flower outside. It's pointing to me, who is already well known. By whom? Me. So therefore, there is no no adjustment, there is no correction, there is no now I know this flower as an object, I the subject. That separation is not there. Subject object separation not being there, all that is needed is akhandakara vritti, to dismiss the notion I am finite. No, you are Brahman, you are akhanda. Akhanda means whole. You are whole, you are Brahman. Oh, is that so? Wonderful. That is all that is needed to know. So that is the only one mechanism is needed, not being the Brahman or the truth of oneself, not being an object. और क्या है? Today you mentioned about time to be positive. Time to be positive. You mentioned about time to be positive. Basically, starting after creation, can time ever be negative? Meaning, can it start and end before creation? I didn't say it was it's neither positive nor negative. It simply is. Positive, I don't know exactly what questioner means. All I said is that time itself is an object of creation. Creation does not unfold in time. Then we are in trouble. If creation unfolds in time like a time becomes the canvas in which the creation unfolds, then we are in trouble. Because time becomes absolute. But time is like creation, relative. It comes, it goes. With every cycle of creation, it comes and goes. Time and space are part of the creation. So therefore, to ask the question, where was Bhagavan before creation, is useless. So, this is the Bhagavan's presence was. Time is yet to come. Space is yet to come. So time is that which is a very big spoof. We think it is permanent. That's why we keep saying there is no time, there is no time, there is no time. How will the Gita get finished? There is no time. There is no time, there is no time, there is no time. Only 13th chapter, about to enter 14th. How will it finish? Oh no, there is no time. We become the slaves of time. And also, if time is absolute, then we can, then enlightenment or self-knowledge, whatever it's called, self-knowledge we can sort of point out, oh, today I have self-knowledge. Yesterday what? No self-knowledge. And many sadhus celebrate Enlightenment Day. This is not a good idea. Yeah. If anybody is doing that, Namaha, go and wish them happy enlightenment, no problem. But you don't do that because it's not necessary. And also it clearly shows that one is anything but enlightened. If one is celebrating Enlightenment Day, that means what? That enlightenment is a mark in time. On this day I was enlightened. That means it is subject to time. If it is gained in time, what will happen? It will be lost when? Also in time. So time is not, the self is the canvas on which time unfolds. Time is not the canvas which marks the knowledge or the ignorance of the eye. Any out of the world divinely or mumukshu or mystic experience you would like to share suitably? I don't have any out of the world experiences. Yeah. So that takes care of that. I'm very much in the world. All right, yeah. So A monk's life is always replete with incredible experiences and only remains with the experiencer. You know, I thank you for saying that, but really I'm an ordinary person, very ordinary, okay? Very, very ordinary. If there is anything extraordinary about me, it is that Pujya Swamiji, took me as his disciple. That's the only extraordinary event, and that's the only extraordinary experience, if you want to call it. Otherwise, I'm just an ordinary person. Yeah, I eat, I drink, you have seen me walk. Go to sleep. That's all. And that is part A. Part B, when we focus on experiences, what are we doing? Focusing on that which begins and that which ends. Yes. So focus instead on the truth of that, of all experiences, whether they are mine or whether they are yours, whether they are anybody's in this class or even outside this classroom, whatever they are. Focus on the truth, the content of the experiencer, which is always there to stay. Everybody has incredible experiences, amazing experiences. If we took a survey right now, each one if we didn't have so much Gita to finish, we could have done that right now. Each one would have something just wonderful, something life-changing that happened, something great. And yet what? That has been an impetus perhaps that has brought one to the study, but study we still must. And then Pujya Swamiji used to say one more thing. Experiences are dumb in themselves. Yeah. You have to come to knowledge in order to understand what is the meaning of the experience. So let's say I have an experience, an incredible experience. I have this experience, I'll make something up. I have this experience that I am floating and timelessly floating somewhere, this experience. Then I have to come to the Guru too. I have to come to the Guru to find out. I have to go to Pujya Swamiji to find out what is the meaning of this experience. Why? Because I don't know. The experience is not going to tell. The experience is just a sensation or some kind of a sensory overload in a nice way that tells me or confirms or reconfirms I am on the right path, I am on the right track. Yes, this is the path for me. Advaita rocks. This is what I need to know. And the experience perhaps confirms it, or the experience guides me to it. But even whether it's guiding me or not, some Satpurusha, Mahapurusha has to tell. Guru has to tell. Somebody has to tell. And so therefore, the experiences, no matter how fascinating, they are finite. And we are in the business of infinite. Yeah. So, dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechidatmanam-atmana anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. One more question is there. What is today? Thursday? Okay. I will keep it for Saturday. So verses 24 to 24, 25, 26, 27 is just like a summary. 24 to 27. First is a summary and of everything that we have studied, a very beautiful summary. It will immediately recall. Arthaspuranam will take place. It's not a boring summary at all, because the Lord makes a lot of effort to teach it in a manner that we're using examples, etc., so that it is not even a bit boring. And so here, how to gain this knowledge is talked about, and then what is it that I have to know in brief. These are the two topics that comprise these verses. So, how do people know? One is here, dhyanena atmani pashyanti kechit. Kechit means some people, pashyanti, understand, know what atma. How do they know? Dhyanena. Dhyana here is not meditation. What is it? Nididhyasana. Nididhyasanena, by contemplation. Contemplation of what? On what? Words of the Shastra, which one has understood. If you don't understand and you contemplate, very dangerous. Yeah, because then it becomes you ascribe. We start ascribing all kinds of things, all right, to words which we don't know the meanings of, and so that is not advised. So once you know the Shastra, then pashyanti means they see clearly. They have assimilated. These sages have assimilated this knowledge by naturally by Shravanam, but also by what? Nididhyasana. Dhyanena pashyanti, atmani pashyanti, atmanam, atmana, atmani. 3 atmas. Even one atma to know, it is difficult. So dhyanena, atmani means in the heart, in the buddhi. Dhyanena, the first atma, atmani, in the heart, in the buddhi, pashyanti. What pashyanti? Atmanam pashyanti. The second atma is the self, is atma, Satchidanandam atma. And then Satchidananda atma. Atmana. Atmana means through the mind that has been purified by karma yoga, etc., etc. Do you get the 3 atmas and their respective meanings? You want me to repeat? Okay. First atmani, first word, dhyanena atmani. Do you see atmani there? Yeah. So atmani means in the buddhi. First atmani in the buddhi. 7th case. Atmanam pashyanti, and that second atma is what? Self. Satchidananda atma. Brahman. And the third atma, atmana, through the atma, what is that? Through a prepared buddhi, prepared mind, antahkarana. Third one is antahkarana, including buddhi, mind. So, three atmas in one verse. Okay? So then some people understand through nididhyasana. Anye, some other people, sankhya yogena means through Shravanam. Shravanena, by pursuing this knowledge in a committed way. Shravanena, what? Pashyanti. They understand. See means they don't see because it is themselves. They understand. They know. And then some other, and if they are not ready for Sankhya Yoga, what do they take a life of? Karma Yoga. Karma Yogena Chapare, or what is it saying? Karma Yogena Chapare. Yes, Apare. Some others, yet others see by Karma Yoga, understand this by Karma Yoga. Not much else to say except that Bhagavan is reminding us that understanding this is a stage by stage, step by step affair. Even though he says some do this, other people do this, we all have to do all of this. That is the idea. Upasana is important for the mind which may be pure, but it's still restless. So meditation is important. And then what else is important? Karma Yoga is important. Karma Yoga, what does it do? Chitta Shuddhi, meditation, Chitta Naishchalyam, Shravanam, what is that? Ajnana Nirasanam, Ajnana Apohanam removes Ajnanam, and then Mananam, which is not mentioned, we can add. Nididhyasanam takes care of bad habits. I know I am Brahman, but I am not behaving like Brahman. That's a bad habit. Not because I don't know, but I am habitually oriented to identifying with Prakriti rather than Purusha, to use this. Identifying with Kshetra rather than Kshetrajna. This is what happens. And so the bad habit goes due to what? Nididhyasanam. And so that is what some people do. Then Anye tvevamajanantah Shrutvanyebhya upasate Tepi chati tarantyeva Mrityam shruti parayanaha. Some other people don't even know the meaning of V for Vedanta. They don't know. What is Vedanta? They will say, what is that? We don't know. But somehow they are led to this essence of this knowledge in their own way through their teachers. Of course, this has to be taught. There is Sufi, there is the poems of Rumi. Rumi means the poet who makes room in the head for this kind of knowledge. And it's all Vedanta. There the Atma, they call it the beloved. Very beautiful. And so we cannot be vain to say, oh, Vedanta is only this. Pujya Swamiji would say, anything, it can go by any name, it can have any shape, but if it is somebody teaching this knowledge, doesn't matter in which country, it is Vedanta. And so what we have to boast about and what we are very grateful for is that we, along with the knowledge, we have the teaching tradition, which in other cases was terribly destroyed thanks to years, centuries of colonization. All the indigenous knowledge was destroyed. Some knowledge is there, but then how to transmit it is gone. All the teachers were killed. All the sages and the rishis were killed. You go to Egypt and try to find at least one person, descendant of one person who built the pyramids. Nobody will be there. They had their own religion and they had wonderful, picture writing, hieroglyphics. Nobody is there. What is the meaning of this? We don't know. Nobody is there. So for us, the teaching tradition is intact. That is why the knowledge was saved. And we were not writing it. It was carried in everybody's head. How many people could they kill? How many people could they massacre? And so those that remained made sure that this parampara, the lineages, the ways of living, the ways of knowing were maintained. But you go to any country, you go to Peru, look at Machu Picchu, amazing, just so amazing. But we don't know hardly anything. What is the philosophy? We look at all the Mayan temples, we don't know how they just disappeared, we don't know. What they were teaching, we know a little bit, but not too much. Many of the leaders, the saints, the sages, the seers, all decimated or converted. This is what is sad about the indigenous traditions, which even now they are maintaining. There is a renaissance of that, thank God. But then we have to be very, very grateful for what we have here. And so the teaching tradition is here, and that's why we say Jnanena Mokshaha. That's why we can say that, because we have heard it from our elders, who heard it from their elders, like this. And so here the person doesn't know V for Vedanta, doesn't even know how to spell Vedanta, but in their own way they have heard a few things, and maybe there are some folk songs, maybe there is some poetry, and so they have the itch for oneness, that oneness they want, and even they, if their desire is keen and if their desire is sincere, they will find a teacher. They will understand this. They will do their own way of karma yoga. They will get antahkarana shuddhi, and they will study, and they will also, whether they are in Europe or whether they are somewhere in South America, whether they are in Antarctica or in a different planet, does not matter. They too will cross the ocean of samsara. Very nice, very uplifting and redeeming verses. Or we can take it this way also. These people, they are good at carrying out what is told, but they are not interested in the Shruti. So because they are not able to do karma yoga yet, they are not able to do upasana, meditation yet. What are they able to do? Whatever you tell them to do, they will do. So you tell them, what do you tell them? Okay, go on this pilgrimage. Go to Kedarnath, come back. They will go and come back. Or go do this for me, the teacher may say. Go do this. I have a friend Swami somewhere in South India. Go give this packet to her or him. Okay, they will do that very correctly and come back. And in so doing, they gain emotional maturity. That's the idea. So from others they have heard something, and then they gain emotional maturity. Even they are redeemed. Then next one. Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam sthavara jangamam Kshetra kshetrajna samyogat Tadvidhi bharatarshava. So, yavat sanjayate sattvam kinchit. Sattvam here is not sattva rajas tamas, that will come in the next chapter, gudatraya vibhaga yoga. But here, yavat sanjayate kinchit, sattvam means any entity, any being, sanjayate, that is born. Yavat sanjayate kinchit. What kind of an entity? Sthavaram, jangamam, moving or stationary, sentient or insentient, whatever comes, whatever is born. Moving or unmoving is better. Whatever is born, because unmoving cannot be born. So, moving, unmoving, we should take. Not sentient, insentient. Because insentient is not born. Moving, unmoving, because it can be unmoving and still be sentient, like tree, mushroom, etc. So, yavat sanjayate, whenever something is born, then tad vidhi, he Bharatarshabha, the foremost in the Bharata clan, what should you know? Know it to be a mix-up of what? Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti. Know this to be mixed up. Mom and dad. We saw that earlier. So what are the properties that the jiva or anything that is born inherits from the mother, Prakriti? What are the properties? Achetana, vikari, achetana, full of vikara, full of gunas, and then mithya. So jada, and then vikari, full of gunas, and then mithya. This is the DNA got from Mother Prakriti. Then what is gained from Purusha? The consciousness, Chetana, Satya, Nirguna, Nirvikari. It's a very interesting combo, correct? And so these two don't really mix very well. They kind of stand out as sore thumbs. How can they are contradictory? Frankly speaking, they are really contradictory. How can guna varjita and then full of gunas coexist? But this kind of a coexistence is happening. Not just in your body, Arjuna, in all the bodies everywhere. Know it to be a very nice mix of kshetra, kshetrajna, prakriti and purusha. What is your job? Your job is to identify with who? Purusha, not Prakriti. Because Prakriti will go on changing and do a number on you, make you mad. It will go on changing and then you, because the heart craves the unchanging. Purusha here does not mean man, okay? And even though we are just saying mom, dad, it's just for fun. Don't take it as woman and man. And then we'll be in terrible trouble. So we have the kshetra and kshetrajna basically in the same location in this body mind sense complex. That which houses, that which is an assemblage, which houses the kshetrajna, which is the purusha, which is Satchidananda Atma, is what? Jada, achetana, vikari, finite. But that which is in this, so to speak, in this finite upadhi is what? Free, limitless, whole, ever present, never absent, of the nature of unending joy. Which do I want? Definitely the latter. I don't want to identify with the house. I want to be the house Swami. I want to be the house Swami. I don't want to identify the house. That is why this becomes Jnayam. This Purusha Prakriti difference becomes Jnayam, and the only thing to be known is this Purusha alone, is the nature of this Kshetrajna, that which is not away from every attribute, itself attributeless. So even though we are making this ironclad distinction Purusha and Prakriti so that we don't identify with the wrong thing, Prakriti is Purusha. Prakriti is non-separate from Purusha. Purusha is not Prakriti. Kshetra is nothing. Kshetra is included in Kshetrajna. But Kshetrajna is not Kshetra. This we have to understand. Why is Prakriti not separate from Purusha? Because look, even if we look at our own body, mind, sense complex, body is there, body is Atma or not? Body is Atma? Yes. Everything is Atma. Body is Atma. Mind is Atma. Senses are Atma. Atma is not just the body. Atma is not just the mind. This is why the confusion is there. That is why there is a bhelpuri of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Purusha, Prakriti all mixed up. In Vyavahara, this bhelpuri mix-up tastes delicious. But when we talk about this knowledge, this mix-up brings about, has a bitter taste in the mouth and brings about nothing but bad news, sorrow. So don't think you have been singled out and you are the only one mixing up Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti and coming to grief and not wanting to fight this war. Everybody is in the same situation until self-knowledge. Until self-knowledge. After gaining self-knowledge, this confusion goes. But the mix-up is still there. But the confusion connected to the mix-up is dismissed, dismantled. That very beautiful. So then, this is the because this is why Kshetra Kshetrajnayo Kshetrajna Samyogat. Because of the association, the connection between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, everything that is born because of that. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति विनश्यत्सु अविनश्यन्तं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति. So, Sarveshu Bhuteshu. So we found out one thing about all the Bhutas, that what did we find out? There is a blend of Kshetra and Kshetranya, insentient and sentient, miserable and delighted, everything hodgepodge in one body mind sense complex. Somehow these two events happen, these two entities are there. Then second thing, the second verse says that same also makes something a generalization about all the beings. Sarveshu Bhuteshu. In all beings the Kshetranya shines. The knower of the body mind sense complex, the Upadhi shines. How? As Parameshvara. Samam. It's not like there is extra Parameshvara in one person and a little less Parameshvara in the other person. No. Why do I feel that way? That this person is more godly and the other person is less godly. That's because they are more in touch with that. That's all. Everybody has the same amount of Parameshvara. What is the amount of Parameshvara in everybody? Infinite. Okay? Fully Parameshvara. It's not that somebody is quarter Parameshvara and the other one is 1/10 Parameshvara. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam Parameshwaram. And then where tishtati, where does this Parameshvara sit, stand, located? Where? In everything that is perishable. In everything that is perishable. So if you want to look for Parameshvara in the perishable things, in the things that are finite. This is a very new way of looking at Ishvara. This is fascinating and wonderful. This is a new way. Usually what we say, drop Anatma, look for Atma. And if you keep going after Anatma, who will get the Atma? Not you. Nobody will get the Atma. That is one way of thinking. But here, this is a different way of thinking. Because everything that you see is what? Anatma. So when you look at the truth of Anatma, what shines is what? Atma. Second level of teaching. First, it is Vedanta KG. Vedanta KG. When the child goes to kindergarten, A for Atma, B for Brahman, C for Chit, D for Dharma. You have to teach step by step. And so you have to say there are two things. Dvauhi padarthau asmin loke. What? Atma, Anatma. Now, two things are there. Anatma is not you, Atma is you. But then we are stuck with what? Two things. And this cannot be because it is Advaita. So then from KG to PhD, Vedanta PhD, in and through the perishable shines the imperishable, because the truth of the perishable is the imperishable Aksharam Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Anatma is Brahman. Atma is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Anatma is Brahman. Brahman is not Anatma. This we have to keep telling ourselves, even in our sleep. We have to look at this one-way equation. And so that's exactly what it says. So, Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam. This Parameshvara is among everything that is perishable. It's the only thing that is imperishable. It upholds that which is perishable. And confuses us because of Maya Shakti. We confuse the perishable for imperishable. Because we fail to see Parameshvara, we look at what? the Nama-rupa and get completely confused. And that's why one identifies with Prakriti rather than Purusha. So then, Yaha Pashyati, Saha Pashyati. The one who sees, sees. Who is that the one who sees? Who is the one who sees? Huh? Jnani. Abba. Okay. So, yeah, Jnani sees. That's why we call the people seers. Call them seers. But I also see. Nobody calls me a seer. How come such jnanis are called seers? We are not called seers because what do we see? We see only the perishable. And in fact, we make a adhyasa on it and then think it to be imperishable. But what does the jnani see? In and through everything perishable, the jnani sees the imperishable and understands that that alone is, and that that is I. That the one who sees, sees. The other people, the one who sees is a seer. The other people are what? Not never called seers. So sad. But anyhow, that's enough. Everybody is falling asleep. I'll have to get everybody pillows if I continue. We'll finish it tomorrow. We'll finish it in the morning. 7 verses, yeah. These are easy because it's just a, what is that? Review. So it will go fast. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Dachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashyate